welcome to Wrong Way, and this is the GotWay MSS. Let me tell you more about it. Wrong Way.
First of all, also huge thanks to EUCService.com for loaning me this wheel for testing purposes. And if you want to get $100 off the GotWay MSS, just be sure to check the description box below. There will be a link to EUCService's Facebook group, and once this group reaches 1,000 members, and it's like just 50 members away, there will be a $100 off Wrong Way coupon unlocked for you guys. Now also, quick disclaimer, this is not a sponsored video by any means. I did get the wheel for testing for free, sent by EUCService.com, and if you want to order this wheel with the discount code, I will receive a kickback from it. So just to be clear with you guys. Now, I don't want to bore you with the details at first, so let's just get into the tests. Alright guys, my first time on the MSS, and Daniel from EUCService specifically asked me to record the first time I'm on this wheel. So yeah, let's see what this baby has got. I think we need, you can check me out here. I think we need a bit more than just the bicycle path, because this thing is like a motorcycle. Yeah, let's get out on the street. No beeping yet. Nothing. And I have the tilt back at 75 kilometers an hour. This wheel. What the f? What the actual f? Jesus Christ. Oh boy, okay. So this just happened. 72 kilometers an hour. So yeah, I think now you get an idea. Oh my god, what this wheel is all about. Còn con. So what is the GotWay MSS really? Well, first of all, the shell is the GotWay MSP. So you still get the super bright T6 diodes in the front, you get speakers, you get the wider body, the better sealing of the MSP, RGB lighting front and back, a rear tail light, and the huge 19 by 3-inch tire. And if you recall my review video of the MSP, you know that I have been raving about the torque of this machine. There have been several reviews already out on the MSP, but there was one catch. You know, GotWay designed the MSP to have more torque but less top speed. So the cutoff was earlier and the safe top speed was anywhere around 60 kilometers an hour or below. The beep started in my use case around like 50 to 55 kilometers an hour. So what did EUCService change in order to make the MSP even better, creating the MSS racing wheel? So first of all, number one, they changed the motor out for a totally different motor. Is not even available at GotWay, having around 2,300 watts of nominal power. And they also changed a lot of the internal components like the BMS or power supply and other stuff to make this wheel more efficient, more powerful, and more torquey than the MSP. The GotWay MSS originally has a 1,800 watt-hour battery with the 21700 cells, which is already good and it's already much faster than the GotWay MSP, but the wheel I got for testing, and I insisted for this version, is the MSS with a 2,250 watt-hour battery. Yes, you heard that right, 2.25 kilowatt hours in a GotWay MSP body. That's, you know, that's insane. You have to keep in mind that this is just so much more than anything like stock on the market right now. And because these guys know what they're doing, they also equipped the MSS with the nickel pads, which in my opinion should be stock on every new GotWay electric unicycle. They also equipped it with a laser beeper, and I'll explain to you later what it's all about. So with all these changes, I'm sure you're curious about how this wheel performs. And first I wanted to talk about power and torque. So the power is absolutely insane, as you saw in the first clips shown in this video. And I have ridden the MSP, the MSX 100 volt, like the 18650 version with the smaller batteries, the nickel 100 volt, the Monster 100 volt recently. And I gotta tell you, this is hands down the most powerful wheel I have ever tested, especially with this big 2.25 kilowatt hour battery. I mean, the beeping in the Monster starts, in my case, was around 63, 65 kilometers an hour sitting down, so with lower drag. And in this wheel, there's like no beeping at 100%. Even like above 65 kilometers an hour. I mean, the speeds, the power that this thing has is unreal. I mean, this wheel is definitely a unicycle that you can just use on the road. And you saw the acceleration test. This thing is faster in my tests from 0 to 60 kilometers an hour, which is around like 35 miles an hour, than a dual-tune Thunder, then a Wolf Warrior 11 Plus, then the Cyclone e-bike Viper V1 Total Top. Now this is like a 6 kilowatt e-bike, a Tech Life X9, and this isn't even the fastest time I could pull off on this wheel. So not only is it an amazing unicycle, it's basically the fastest thing that you can get for around $2,800. Like fastest POV. Fastest POV. What? And if you are concerned about the torque, don't worry. I was actually using this wheel without any power pads, so just with the stock, like shoe sole thickness pads, and I could still get up the 40-degree climb I did on the MSP, so no worries about torque. I was testing this wheel extensively and for a long time, as you could see, and changing the direction, like front and back, doing the pendulum, is insane in this wheel because it just reacts so quickly. It's so responsive. And I feel it's like a bit lighter to accelerate, decelerate than the GotWay MSP, which is insane. And here are just some clips so you guys see what I'm talking all about. I'm going up the hill, I'm braking, then I'm going backwards, and then I change the direction to go back up again. And this is a like 15 to 20 degree steepness. This is insane. This is exactly how you would fry a 9-baud Z10. And this isn't a thing you should do ever on a wheel. Now, I wanted to try it because I tested things to the limit and it performed flawlessly. Doing a pendulum braking on this wheel is really, really good. It's the best braking wheel, best accelerating wheel, and you know why? I will buy it. Yes, I actually will, but more on that probably in a future episode. And this performance is so good to this point. I mean, the pedals stay so flat. I have never experienced something like that before. Maybe a tiny bit on the MSP, but not as much as on the MSS. You can brake and suddenly you go backwards. It's insane. You can see this on one of the clips in the intro. I was braking super hard and suddenly I go backwards because it just has this insane amount of power and torque. So, okay, enough raving about the torque. But with all the new stuff packed into this wheel and the bigger battery, I'm sure you want to know if this wheel is secure. So in terms of going top speed, yes, it is. Fastest top speed in my case was around 75 kilometers an hour. Maybe I could go even faster, but I feel like this is the edge for me right now, and I don't want to risk a cutoff too much. Now, this should be going even at 80 kilometers an hour, but I feel I have to gear up for this a bit more and really prepare for such an event. But going 60, 65, 70 kilometers an hour here is no issue, and you get accustomed to it really quickly. Now, don't try doing above 60 kilometers an hour under 50%. Now, this is a thing you shouldn't do, but it's super safe. There's always a lot of headroom to push this wheel to get higher speeds. Now, the second concern, of course, is like, does it still have a robust shell like the MSP? And I gotta tell you, in comparison to the Nikola, it's the MSP, so it's not such a robust shell. 3 crashes on this wheel. You saw one of them with the rope in my earlier video, and I crashed it another time, and when I was going like 5 kilometers an hour, and there was just suddenly such a hole appear on the path I was going at. And you can also see the wheel falling down from a 4-meter concrete slope. So yeah, it's taped up right now, but this is just how it is with these bodies. You should get a fiberglass top for it to just prevent it. The left LED strip doesn't work, but it's exactly the same thing that happened also on my Nikola. So I can just tell you that yes, it is robust as a MSP, and yes, it is safe, even with this huge battery. You know, I've tested it. So another big aspect I wanted to talk about is range and the efficiency of this wheel. Now I think that with the 1800 watt-hour version of the MSS, you could probably go as far as with the MSP, maybe a bit further because of the lower nominal power in this motor. So this motor should be actually more efficient than the MSP, and I think it's also lighter than the motor in the MSP. But the version you should get is definitely the one with the additional 450 watt-hour pack in the MSS, bringing the total once again to 2.25 kilowatt hours. And I gotta say to you guys, I did the range test. I did around 87 kilometers or 89 via EUC World. It's insane. Hands down, with my style of driving, the only vehicle on my channel without any pedal assist and so on that could do a range above 90 kilometers is the Dualtron X with a 60 volt 45 amp hour battery pack. And I was specifically driving this thing really slowly and carefully to get this maximum range out of the scooter. Again, the range here is insane, and I think if you have a wheel that is 1600 watt hours or you have 1 kilowatt hour and you want to get way more range out of it, this is the way to go. For me, a 100 volt wheel with a battery that is 1800 watt hours big was just not enough of an upgrade to get a wheel with this battery size. I just wouldn't get more range. For example, with the GotWay Monster I had previously, I did a range test with around 62 kilometers. Now this is a range I could theoretically, but at way lower speeds, get on my Nikola. But with this thing, I have just so much more possibilities. If you want to see a full-on long range test when driving slowly without any like super fast top speed and the sudden acceleration, hit the like button. If we reach 200 likes within 24 hours of publishing this video, I will do such a range test for you. So yeah, the range is stupidly insane and ridiculous and nice. I don't know how they fit this amount of battery inside of this wheel, but they did, and we should all be happy about it. And these are the 21700 cells, so if you want to recharge this wheel quickly, probably 2 to 3 hours is possible with a fast charger. With the standard charger, naturally charges way longer because it's just a bigger battery pack, but the range here is just so much of an upgrade. After driving like 50 kilometers when shooting a couple of the scenes to the intro here, I had still 50% left on the GotWay MSS, and it's just such a big change. With the same driving style on my GotWay Nikola, I would likely have 5% or maybe 10. Now this doesn't mean that this wheel doesn't have any drawbacks. For example, the laser edition is just something I did not see in the night really. Maybe some of you guys would see it, but for me it wasn't too visible. I don't have too good eyes too, so maybe that was the reason. Maybe it was too bright, but there wasn't any use for the laser in my case. Now another thing is the balance of this wheel, and I think that the 1800 watt hour version of the MSS or the MSP will be more stable because the weight is just distributed differently. I had to get used to the balance a lot longer in this wheel because it's just different, and when braking especially hard, I've noticed that if I lean more on my right foot, I would get less wobble. So this is a thing that you have to get used to, and I wanted to mention it just to be clear with you guys. The weight is naturally also much bigger, but that is also because of the battery. So if you want to carry this wheel a lot, this is 28 kilograms. I found it to be like manageable because you still have to get the handle of the as MSP, but yeah, it's as heavy basically as the 100-volt Monster. It's not as stable as the 100-volt Monster 2 because it's just a smaller diameter wheel, but just because of the power and the headroom, I found myself using the Street as much as on the GotWay Monster because it's stable too, not as much, but it has more reserves of power, which is really nice. The pads are also placed differently, and this could be good and bad for you. I found it to be really nice because I felt really at home coming from the Nikola, because the footplates are not only bigger, but they're also flatter, so they don't hug you as much to the wheel. Now I think you can also get this wheel with the standard MSP footplates, which are at a very steep angle. I think this is actually better for going off-road and higher speeds, but these pedals are extremely comfortable, and this setup, I could actually probably equip this wheel also with the standard MSX side pads, and it still would be really comfortable for me, because now this wheel doesn't feel as wide as it did when it had these steep footplates. So this is another thing to know. It's just super comfortable. I did the range test 90 kilometers and it's super comfortable. I did like 50 kilometers one evening and I just don't feel the strain on this wheel. Another thing with the footplates is that they just don't fit as well as the MSX or MSP footplates. Just hit here, which is a bummer, but yeah, I still would get these plates because I just find them so much more comfortable than the regular MSP footplates. And feel like the magnets are, yeah, they're probably strong enough, but it still takes some force to, yeah, get them up. Oh yeah, and the trolley handle is still in a very annoying spot. Once again, the pedals stay super flat, but this is not a GotWay that is not prone to pedal dipping. It's not as extreme as on the GotWay Monster, which just dips massively when you go off-road or when you make a really long turn, but as you can see on the video now, when I do a long turn the pedals dip too, and then it takes a while for them to just get back up. It's way better off-road and they stay flat for a longer time. It's definitely better for off-road, and I'm actually not sure which tire the MSS has standard, probably the new MSP tire. Here I had the old MSX tire and I found it to be good just as well. But the new MSP tire should be better for off-road scenarios. And naturally, the things that I don't like about the MSP, MSX shell still remain. So the design is, I mean, I compare it to a Lamborghini Diablo or Countach. If you have seen this sort of design, then this is pretty similar. It looks really aggressive, it looks really like a military tool, or some consider it to be just ugly. Now, I don't know what camp you're in, but the performance of this wheel just convinces me to get it. There is naturally no mudguard as standard, so you have to get that as well. I think the RGB lighting could be better too. The rear taillight could be brighter as well. So these are the things you probably should upgrade if you would buy this wheel. Now maybe there will be a Wrongway edition of this wheel, like a special version with special features, but I can't tell you too much about it because we just started talking about that with EUCService. If you would be interested in such a special edition like top end MSS, then just comment below if you would be interested about it. So yeah, this is the GotWay MSS by EUCService, and we are at the end. So if you're still here, leave a like on the video, subscribe to see more content like this, and I'll see you in the next video. And huge thanks to my Patreons, which are listed on screen now. And once again, this is my next wheel.